Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before I get to our guests here today, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoy this content, to please give a like and subscribe down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. We have Nanci Lozano on the podcast. She's coming to us all the way from California, and she's here to share her health and fitness journey with us and talk to us about, what really inspired and motivated her to get into the shape that she is in right now. But most importantly, she's our current guest. Nanci, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Ryan, for inviting me. My journey actually is going to be a little bit personal because it's been a long journey, and I lost 95 pounds. And it started at a divorce. I got divorced, and I didn't want a divorce. And without knowing it, I started binge eating a lot of cupcakes, eating cake, eating everything, and drinking a lot of wine. Without knowing it, I was just putting it in my face, and I was just gaining weight. And one day I just went shopping and I didn't even want to look at myself, trying on clothes. Nothing fit, nothing worked, and I was just sad. And I remember a guy didn't open the door for me, but he opened it for a really nice, attractive woman. And I didn't like that feeling. So I would always research, find out things, and nothing really worked. But I walked into a boot camp and I knew the minute I heard the music, I knew I wanted to do that class because I've always been an athlete all my life. I was into running. I've done marathons. I was a cheerleader. I was an everything, college prep student. I was an honor roll. I did really well and I was really fit. But after my divorce was first time I was very heavy. So OC Fit really, really helped me and nobody knew me there. So after being into a relationship for 17 years and then nothing, it was just, it was really hard. And so I didn't know anyone. So I retired from my job at 35 years with the Department of Justice. And I moved to Newport Beach and I landed at boot camp and I loved it. And I just kind of got addicted to it. And I started dropping weight. And people started recognizing, wow, look at her. She's losing weight. But I started looking good and I started feeling good and I started eating healthy and I just really got into it. And then I decided I just wanted to do bodybuilding because my ex was a bodybuilder. He was a bodybuilder and I was the cook. I never competed before. We used to work out 3 times a week, all the time. We worked faithfully, worked out. And he was friends with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I was around all that. And back in those days, he was 15 years older than me. So he's up there in age. So I was around all that and I learned all that. So it was kind of in me, intuitively in me. So I learned when I was heavy that it was through stress. And stress symptoms create problems within your feelings, the way you think, your behavior, and everything. So I really got into it and started reading books. So I just started looking good. I started feeling good, but I really started looking good. So I decided to do my first bodybuilding show and I won. And I won 3 trophies. I won in the 30-year group. I was 54 years old in my first show. So I was like, oh my God, I don't believe it. I just had my last show last weekend in Pittsburgh National and I won top 5. So I'm very, very happy. I'm happy with my coach. One of the things I do want to mention, though, about the fitness industry, everyone looks at it and they don't realize how hard we work and how cutthroat the fitness industry is. And you might get happy and see how everyone looks good, but it is, a billion-dollar industry, cutthroat. And you have to be really careful of the coaches you get. There might be a coach that looks fabulous. There might be a coach that, oh my God, he's an Olympic star, but he's a lousy businessman or doesn't know how to train people, or he has the people train people, or he has a nutritionist or somebody just giving you a meal plan. So you have to really, really be careful. So I've been through it all, and I really found a great coach, and I'm just so happy where I'm at right now at my level. I'm a fitness model. I'm going to be 60 years old in a couple of weeks. I just won top 5 nationals. And the reason why I'm not trying to brag. What I'm trying to tell people is whatever you think in your mind, whatever you transpire or think, your thoughts is what's going to happen. It's kind of like a genie. It's like, your wishes. You have to think that because that's what this life is all about. And we all struggle. We all are the same. We have, whatever it is, health problems, breakup problems, financial problems, too much drinking problems, too much eating, can't get to the gym, kid problems, whatever. We all deal with it. But one thing I've always realized what works for me is show up and show out. Just get there and you're going to work out. It's just like going to work. You want to go to work, you want to make money. Okay, it's the same thing. And I use this in everything I transpire in my life. Like last night, I said, I need to make some money. I'm going to make some money tonight. This morning, I woke up and I made some money. And I'm like, I'm so happy. Wrote it down. Everything I wrote down, it happened today. And so, and then this podcast, so I was like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. And it made it all happen. But I'm that way now. Now I have this time to focus on me. I have never dated a man since my breakup, never, ever. And it's been many, many, many years. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you? And I say, well, why should I? I already done that. Now I'm about me. And I just want to help other people before I leave this world. I want to be able to touch one soul because I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to hurt. I was a woman that raised 4 boys by myself, and it was hard. I worked 2 jobs. It was really hard because I always had to think about how am I going to feed them? How am I going to get groceries? And then when 2 were bad, it was awful. It was like, oh my gosh, it felt terrible. But they all grew up and everything works out. But if you just think about what you really do in your life and how you really want to be, and just help each other and pull each other up, you'll be much happier. And yes, we do work out as bodybuilders. We work really hard. My day consists of waking up 4 o'clock every morning, and I go to the gym at 5, and I do a fasted cardio for 60 minutes. Then I train for another hour. Then I shower and I go to work and I manage a law firm. Then after work, I repeat the cardio again, 45 minutes on the cardio and a rowing machine, and I'm done. But it consists of meal prep. It consists of eating 6 meals a day, taking supplements, taking my vitamins at this certain time with this certain meal, drinking a gallon of water every single day, and I weigh myself all the time. So I don't go to restaurants. I did after my show for 2 whole days. I went to Cheesecake Factory. I went to another restaurant. I drank wine. I ate cookies. I had cake. And my coach told me to enjoy because it was Labor Day weekend. Enjoy it. And then that was for 2 whole days. And then he put me on a reverse diet. But in those 2 whole days, I gained 10 pounds like that quickly. And I thought, oh my God, no. And then I was on the routine again. And now I've lost this weight again in 1 week. So I'm 3 pounds over stage weight. That's it. So it's like, I know it is so easy to drop weight. I know how to do it. And I think if people would just realize the stress they have in their life and manage that stress and get to the gym, they will be able to conquer. Everyone would start looking better and feel better.
I couldn't agree more with that. And I mean, one question that I love to ask every one of our health and fitness guests that we have on, because I always say, if you were to walk into a gym with 100 people, there's 100 different ways as to how those people got into shape, whether it comes down to, I mean, their diet, their nutrition, how many reps they do, what exercises they do. So many little things add up to the overall package that people end up seeing. Was that a struggle for you figuring out what worked best for your body when you were getting started? Because I always say, if you're to walk up to someone and say, what did you train for that body part? It looks amazing. What works best for them 99% of the time is not going to work as good for you.
I've had different coaches and I had different meal plans. I had cookie cutter meal plans that just didn't work for me. Um, but I think after learning my body, what works for me, um, then I realized you have to trust your coach. But when it doesn't work, you have to tell your coach, hey, I don't know what's going on. Your metabolism can get stuck. That's happened to me before. I did all this cardio and I wasn't losing any weight. And it was because I was doing too much cardio and not enough carbs. So you have to know your biology of what's working and write those notes down. But with this coach, oh my gosh, it hasn't been like that at all. I have been dropping, and dropping, and this is the best shape I've ever been in my life. But he is a really good coach. He knows what he's doing. And I think when you get a coach, it's scientifically into the biology of everything, especially with the hormones and older women and how it reacts. I think then that's the key. If you can control those hormones and that stress, because that's all the glucose. That's our sugar level fluctuating. So if you can figure that out, it's all works. The meal plan that I have now is very limited of what I can eat on certain days. One day a week I have carbs, just 1 day a week. The other days I'm just eating protein and cucumbers.
Well, and again, that just goes to show just the stuff that you guys go through in order to get that look and just what you guys go through because I always say, like you were talking about before, so many people don't understand that it's such a hard amount of work that goes into it and it's just so much more behind the scenes work that I don't think many people realize. So that's why I love to have, bodybuilders or health and fitness guests come on and share that because the general public I think is so ill-informed in that. But another question that I love to ask because everyone's genetics are different. So everyone always has that one body part when they get started that really, really takes off, that they don't have to train as much. And then everyone always has that one body part that just lags behind that they have to train to overdrive to get it to catch up. I'll give you my examples first. I mean, my back, just because I had jobs all throughout college of lifting and loading, heavy trucks. You either got a really nice back or you quit. Those were the two options that presented themselves. But I'm also 6'3", so my legs and my lower body are just absolutely shot where, I mean, I have to train them into overdrive. What were those body parts for you when you were getting started?
Well, when I first started, I had a lot of problems in boot camp because I was heavy. So I couldn't jump like a lot of people were jumping. Once I started losing the weight and exercising more, because I had joint problems, um, then that went away. And then vitamin C, taking the right supplements, that really, really helped. But I think with weightlifting, it took all the joint problems away. So to answer that question, my body part, I lift heavy, really, really heavy. And when I say heavy, I'm talking about 4 or 5 plates on each side for leg presses. Um, but my body reacts better with heavy weights. I love it. Now, heavy weights will make me feel a good pump, but I want more cut in my muscles. So I have to do a lot more less weight and feeders and lots of reps and drop sets in order to get that lean cut. So there's a lot of tricks that you have to do, and mainly meals. Yeah, but I would have to say the hardest part was legs for me, but now I love it. Legs were like, oh no, I have to do legs. Like I didn't want to do legs; they'd hurt, and then like just stiff in the middle of the night. In the morning, I couldn't walk or sit down. But now I love it. I love it. It's like, oh, good, it's leg day, and it doesn't hurt as much, but it still hurts. But I love to see the results.
Do you do a lot of time under tension training? That's a thing that a lot of people that we talk to use.
Yes. Well, what I do a lot of, what I'm doing now is warm ups with basically 20 reps, okay? 2 sets of warm ups. And then I do feeders, a lot of feeders. So those are fast. And then I do workout sets. So feeders, I'm going to do 3 sets. And then workout sets, I'm going to do 3 sets. So we're doing like six, 7, 8 sets, and that's a lot just for one body part.
Oh yeah, that's a ton of repetitions, and that really just kind of shocks the muscle and really, yeah, I mean, really just works it to about as hard as it can go. But a myth and stereotype that I love to bust on this podcast that I mean we talked about right before we started recording this podcast is I mean there's still so many women that have that fear where if they walk into the gym and they touch one weight they're just going to put on 50 pounds of muscle overnight. And I say to that, good luck. I mean, I would pay my entire life saving just to talk with you for 5 minutes then because you have found the secret that so many people are looking for. Did you ever have that fear when you were getting started, really taking things seriously? And even if you didn't, I bet you still hear that all the time now. How do you like to respond to that?
I did have that feeling, and it did make me look bulky, but it wasn't the weights, it was the food. So I was eating a lot of carbs. So when you rip out the carbs and you lift heavy weights, you're going to have muscles and you're going to get lean. So weights do not make you bulky. No, that's a myth.
Oh my God, believe me, I could tell you all the times I was just like, if that was the truth, then everyone would be like super, super huge and gigantic then because they would just need to touch one dump. I mean, just the amount of times that I've heard that, and it's just, I just love putting that to rest. But going off that, I always say the one thing that I think impacts women so much more positively than men in the gym is the confidence boost that it gives you. I mean, we've heard so many stories of women who have, made life-changing decisions. I mean, it's really just helped them in all aspects of their life because I always say that is the one thing that you can take from the gym and really impact every single aspect of your life. How have you taken that confidence boost and use it to impact your own life?
Oh, I'm a whole complete different person from when I first started. It has really, really helped me. I started as a hobby. It was fun and just like stress relief after work and stuff or before work. But now it's gone to a whole different level. And I was just contacted today by another company regarding swimsuits and to model. So I do a lot of fitness modeling on the side, and I train and I work. So, but it's all fun with the fitness. I mean, lights, camera, action is all fun. The shoots, I have a magazine shoot in Las Vegas next week and at the Olympia. And then I have another photo shoot. And then I was contacted today that they want to meet me, and I'm going to be talking to her about a swimsuit modeling. So a lot of things are going good. And then I'll be in Kabul in November, be doing a shoot for a calendar. So a bunch of us girls will be out there and we'll be doing a calendar. So that's going to be real interesting for me. So a lot of and when you do the modeling, it's early in the morning. You're putting makeup on. They're putting the makeup on you at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. You have a shoot before sunset, or whoever's on first. Sometimes on first, so it's really early, and there's a lot of traveling involved, whether it's airplanes or driving. I mean, there's new people. You're always meeting people. It's kind of lights, camera, action, go. You just know your block of time and where you're going to be. But it's fun. It really is fun.
One of the things that really I don't think the general public really understands is that just to be able to get into shape to go on a prep takes so much hard work, dedication, determination that 95% of the general public wouldn't be willing to do that. But going on a prep, you are notching things up to an extreme where, I mean, you got to get all of your workouts in. You got your food, nutrition has to be basically perfect. What has that adjustment been like for you going from that to that super strict lifestyle where everything has to be down pat?
Everything, well, with my plan, my coach is this coach here is so detailed. This is the very first coach I've ever had that is so detailed in everything. So basically, my plan is about, I would say, 8 pages, about 8 pages. And what I do is I download it on my phone, and I also keep a printed copy on me, on my meals. So I prepare my meals. I have 6 meals. I prepare my meals and I stick them with me in my lunchbox and I take them to work. Well, I have one before I start in the morning after fasted cardio. So then I have four and then I come back and then I eat. But if I go somewhere, I still have to take my meals with me because you have to. Otherwise, you're going to wind up eating out or you're going to mess up your meal. You cannot mess up your meal plan. It's a must. You have to get that down. And I think that's where people fail, where they think, I'm going to do a show or I'm going to be a bikini competitor or a figure competitor, and they just want to do it and they don't realize how intense it is. You cannot mess up the plan because it works and you have to trust the plan. So I constantly have things that I take that are very convenient. They keep it cold, to microwave, and like when I travel, I have a stovetop and it cooks it fresh, egg whites, everything that I need because I can't go out in the world. You're out of the world and you're completely out of the world. You have no friends because your friends go drink and your friends go to restaurants and eat, so you can't go with them. And so you're basically a homestead and you just go to the gym and you just do your thing and that's it. And it works out for me. I love it because I've always been alone. I do better alone. And but it's always details like for the modeling, they tell me where to go, where to stay, where I'm going to be. All I have to do is get myself there at that time, which is very helpful. The itinerary, that helps me a lot. As for my plans for the show, you have to get the suit, you have to get the makeup artist, you have to get the tan, you have to get your hair done. You have to know, your whole routine, everything. And it's a lot of work. You have to practice, practice, and practice. And a lot of girls, I've met girls where they just say, oh, I just want to do it. And it's just like, it doesn't work that way. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is just such a constant work in progress. And that leads me perfectly into, I mean, posing is one thing that I think so many people don't realize for a lot of the competitors is the hardest thing for them. I mean, it's harder than their nutrition, it's harder than the workouts. I like to compare it now to being a perfect driver where you can be a great driver, you can never be a perfect driver, you can be a great poser, you can never be a perfect poser. It's always ever evolving. What has your experience with posing been like?
Oh, posing. Well, I went bikini for a year and I tried that and it just wasn't for me. Posing is everything. That is the show. I don't care how muscular, how your physique looks. Posing is everything. And that's what the judge is looking for because that's the product of your work. You're showing it off on stage, what you've done. So they want to see you on stage and everything's voted on your hair, your makeup, your suit, and your posing. So posing, you really have to nail it.
Out of the poses that you do, what is your favorite pose to do and what is your least favorite?
I would say my poser, I have an IFBB poser that trains me, Bohana, and she's an Olympian star. And I would say she always says my front pose is, my front pose is because of my arms. I have big arms naturally. So you're always wanting to show the judges what your natural physique is. Some people, might have legs or glutes. Some may have their back. It just depends. But I would say my arms and shoulders are probably my most favorite, and my legs too. So I always try to get the front of me in there.
What's it like clothing option wise then? If you have to really have really big arms, has that been a struggle then?
Oh yes, talk about that. I'm going to Vegas, and my daughter had said, "Oh, I got some really cute black dresses," and she really wanted to show me these cute dresses. She just got back from Vegas, so I said, "Sure, sure, I'll try them on." And I tried one on. It was so funny. I could not even get my arm through her arm, and she's much bigger than me as a person, but I'm much smaller than her. But my arms are big, and I couldn't even fit my arm in it. I couldn't. We were laughing so hard. It was like, oh gosh. So it is a struggle with clothes. I wear a double zero, which is very tiny, but shirts I have to try it on because my arms are big.
Yep, that is definitely one thing that we hear of all the time that a lot of people just don't realize too is that your clothing options at times can be very limited. But one of the things that I love to talk about as well is you can tell I'm one of the palest people you'll ever meet in your entire life. I mean, my thick Norwegian skin and being from the upper Midwest, if I go outside without an SPF of 1 million, I'm just going to get burnt to an absolute crisp. But bodybuilders get tan. What is that experience like when you get that tan on? Because we hear so many stories about how, you see muscles that you never even knew that you had. Everything really seems to pop out. What is that like for you?
Well, I hate the tanning part. I really do because it's so dark. And I don't care how much you scrub, it really doesn't come off. It just seems like you get darker as the years go by because I was much lighter, much, much lighter. And, but some of them it's just really dark. And I don't like to look really dark. It's that chocolate look. And they say the darker you are, the better it is because it shows the physique under the lights. It's just I don't like it. You can't take a shower. You get sprayed the day before, and you can't take a shower that night. It gets on everything, and then it comes off a little bit the next day, and it's just really dark. But that's a process in itself. It's kind of yucky.
Well, and I always say too, I mean, it's like you basically have to become your own like mini statue where you can't sit on anything, you can't really lean up against anything. We hear all these stories about people, bring on their own bed sheets, and yeah, it's just a never-ending hassle when it comes to that. But a question that I love to ask all of my guests that I have on, whether they be, my up and coming bands or my health and fitness guests, for my bands, I always ask, what is that feeling like when you get to walk up on stage and perform live in front of hundreds to thousands of people? But what is that feeling like for the health and fitness competitors too when you get to walk up on stage and show off all of that hard work that you've worked months upon months on?
It is a wonderful feeling because you know that you are like right now. I just finished nationals in Pittsburgh. That was a great big show. I mean, to even get there, you're like invited on. So to get that far, it really didn't matter to me if I won or not because I got that far. So I was very proud and very happy for myself to, to travel 7 hours to get there and to be on stage. Here I am, so it was really nice. So the very first time was on stage, I was scared to death. I was scared. I can hear my teeth chattering. I was so scared. Not anymore. So when the lights come on, you just kind of really know what to do. The lights like, yeah, lights, camera, action. You're on there and you're just flaunting. You're slaying. You're just basically slaying your stuff off. And it feels really good because you work so hard and you're going to get those cookies and you're going to get those cupcakes and you're going to get to eat. And that's what you're just like waiting for, just waiting. Oh my God, this is finals. I can't wait for this is over because I get to eat.
When you're on stage, does time seem to slow down or does it seem to speed up or is it sort of a mixture of both?
Well, when you're on stage, I think it speeds up because they already know who's going to win. The prejudging part is the part where it's nervous, you're scared, you really want to win, and if they tell you to get in the center, then that feels great because you know you're winning, and or if they move you around, that's a good thing. But if they don't, then you're like scared, like oh no, I don't know, you don't know what's going to happen. But so in prejudging, I always say that it's pretty kind of nerve wracking. Finals is always fun. You can't wait for it to be over with. It's a long wait though, all day.
Yeah, another thing that people don't realize is that these shows take forever. A lot of them. I mean, you're going to be there for the whole day, and the body is not meant to be in the flex position for that long. That a lot of these competitors are on stage. So we hear stories all the time about that just being a struggle where you have to find that durability and that stamina. But now we go to a fun question. What is your go-to post-show meal?
Oh gosh, I would have to say it's not really a meal, but I'm a cookie monster. I love cookies, but my post show is spaghetti, spaghetti and meatballs. I love spaghetti with wine in the bread at Cheesecake Factory. I love it. It just is so good.
That is the same meal that I actually had before my prom 7 years ago. So yeah, I totally understand that. I mean, I always said I would always rent out like a Five Guys probably if I ever competed, and then just just pig out that night. But that leads us into a question that I think is probably the most important question out of all of them that I ask, because so many people don't realize that look that you guys put on stage, that is not a sustainable look. I mean, we've heard so many times about people who might get into bodybuilding and they don't have that wisdom that hey, I'm not going to be able to maintain that weight and that look that I present on stage, and then it really, really affects them. What was that like for you when you realized that all this hard work that you put into it, you are going to have to put on weight, and it's just a healthy thing to do?
Yeah, it really is a healthy thing to do for your metabolism because you don't want your metabolism to stop. And a lot of times it can with taking all those carbs out. So I just learned to go through the process and love yourself because in the long run, you know you're going to lose that weight again and you want to see the results of the growing muscle. So yeah, I do. I think I look pretty big when I bulk up. You know, I can get really big because I get bulky and but I love to go back and look at the pictures because at the end, when I lean down, I can see through the years, my physique, how much better it looks.
And it really just is so fascinating how much the body can change in such a short period of time. I mean, we've heard stories of people, put on 40 pounds, a couple of weeks after that show just because they've been so down and depleted. But I mean, I always say it's just like starting your own business where you got to spend money to make money. You got to put on weight if you want to put on muscle. I mean, those two things just go hand in hand. But when you were getting started in this journey, I always say for so many people, taking that first step in the gym is so hard for them because a lot of people have these fears about, what are other people going to think about me when I'm in the gym, or they just get so nervous. Did you have those type of worries, and how did you overcome them?
Not really. I kind of, like I said, I worked out all my life, so I was kind of addicted to boot camp. Boot camp was the first thing I started doing, and I got addicted to it, so I couldn't stay away. But I do have a client. It's just signed up, and she's having that problem where she's was saying for a very long time that she wanted to work out. I wanted her to tell me and tell me and tell me, and I just said, no, we're going to do it right now. We're going to sign you up. We're going to do it, and I'll see you tomorrow. We have to do it. And it's one of those things I told her everybody struggles with, even me, till this day. There's going to be days where you're going to say, oh no, I don't want to do that cardio, but you just go show up and you have to do the cardio. And I love what I love is the discipline about the process. I love it. You're just going to fall through it because the way you look afterwards, you're going to see the results and you're just going to love yourself more.
Well, and I love it too because it's such a time process where I mean, everyone, especially in my generation, they want everything now and they want it yesterday. Where working out, that's not going to be the case. You're going to have to put in so much hard work and dedication, determination, and it really is one of those things where if you see someone who's in really great shape, you know that they have definitely put in the work in and that they really try at it. And it's just one of those things where results do show and hard work does show. I mean, with other things, it might not be the case, but with working out, that is the one of the things where I mean, if you really work hard and you really try at it, it really does show. But a question that I love to ask also all the health and fitness guests is because there are so many positive things that happened to me when I started working out and getting bigger and stronger. But one of the negative things is that you're going to get asked to move a lot of people's furniture. You're going to get asked to open a lot of pickle jars or bottled waters or anything that's sealed on tight. I mean, I'm still at home with my parents I'm moving out next month. Actually, it is now. But I still every time they come in with groceries, I basically have to lift the car into the driveway and carry in the groceries. Has that been a similar experience with you, or now that you have friends and family that know that you work out now, where they just assume that you can do favors for them?
Um, People sometimes want to do trades because they know I train and they want to do trades, but I'm not interested. Or I think with guys, men are intimidated by me. Guys come up to me and whisper in my ear, like I was at an outing one my friend's birthday, and it was a bar restaurant, And we were all at the bar, and this guy came. He kept looking at me, and I was wondering, have I met him before? Because I know a lot of boot campers and Spartan racers. And he came up to me and he whispered in my ear and he said, "You know, your biceps are bigger than mine." So I get a lot of that with guys playing around like that. And but I've always been picked on since I was a little girl about my arms, you know. So I know, but now I'm like, hey, you wish you had guns like mine.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I mean, I ran into that too at bars every once in a while where, you'd get challenged to arm wrestle or stuff like that all the time. But I always say for me too, being 6'3", it's a double-edged sword because I could have zero muscle at all and I'd still get asked, hey, tall guy, come and help us move this thing or do that or whatnot. And I always say, it's something that I adjusted to, but it's a good thing now overall. But one of the things that I love about this lifestyle too is that when you embrace it, or when someone does, I mean, it serves as such an inspiration to other people. What is that feeling like for you, knowing that, I mean, you do serve as a huge inspiration for so many people? And does that really help you with motivation when it comes to days that when you might not really be feeling like you want to work out that day?
I really don't struggle with motivation anymore at my age, um, like I did when I was younger. But and I'm probably because I'm prepared, I'm older, and what I'm doing with my life right now is I'm preparing to when I do leave this world. So I'm basically just trying to touch everyone's soul to let them know that it's okay to hurt. We've all been there, and it's okay to fall, but get back up because the worst thing what I've learned is when someone tells you you'll never amount to anything, you'll never be anything. You can't do that. You can do it. You can be anything you want to be as long as you put your mind to it and do it. You can do it. And I learned that with things that happened in my life. Law school, for example. When I went to law school, oh my God, that was so hard reading those cases. And most of those cases were 50 pages each. And to get up and talk about it, you had to know about that case. So you had to do the reading. And that was really hard. And I remember staying up to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and then going to work. So all those disciplines that I did, all those things that I did in my life and those challenges were hard, but it helped me be who I am today. So today I am the person who grabs that person and pulls them up and says, run with me. Because I was the person when I was overweight, that was me hiding, you know, and I know that feeling. And we all have a heart to heal other people. And that's all I'm trying to do with my older age. I'm going to be 60 years old in 2 weeks. And all I'm trying to do is just touch other people's soul to let them know this is my gift that I have. That's all I have is a heart. I have too nice of a heart. And if that's all I have and that's what I'm gifted with, well, then I want to be able to use it. And I kind of feel like I'm a disciple of God. God uses me. I'm the stronger one for these people who are hurting, and I'm going, let's go, let's do it. I'm the first one in line. We could do it because I know what it feels like to struggle.
What day is your birthday on in September?
The 23rd.
Oh, I was gonna say because my little brother's is on the 19th. So when you said like 2 weeks, I was like, oh, maybe they got the same birthday. So yeah, but we wish you a happy early birthday with that. This will be out by the time, or it should be out by the time that your birthday comes wrong. So it'll be maybe our little birthday present. Maybe we'll have it come out on your birthday then. But yeah, and that's just so awesome. And what is that feeling like for you too, though, knowing that you have helped people make this drastic change in their lifestyle? Does that make everything worthwhile? Know that you are really making that change and affecting people?
Yes, because I get a lot of IG messages from a lot of people from all around the world. And people tell me, their struggles in there. And they say, you're inspiring me because you're always on that Stairmaster. When I wake up, you're on there. When I go to sleep, you're still on there. And that helps me. Like, oh, wow, they're running with me. So it really helps me too in return.
Yeah. And I always say if you can do anything that involves with helping others, I mean, get into that because there's not much of a more fulfilling feeling than doing something with that. But now we go to our audience favorite, my personal favorite part of the podcast, a little questionnaire. We're going to ask Nanci here about a half a dozen or so questions that we ask all of our other health and fitness guests, and we're going to see how her answers stack up to everyone else that we've had on. So for our first question, what is one item that you always need to have in your fridge at all times?
Oh my gosh. One item that I always have, I don't always have it because I can't always have it, but I wish I always had it in my fridge would be peanut butter. Peanut butter, oh my God, and jelly. I love peanut butter and jelly. I can't eat peanut butter right now, and I can't eat jelly right now, but I would love to put jelly on top of my rice cakes and peanut butter, and I just love it. I miss it so much.
Do you ever try any of those like fat-free peanut butter, or you just have to have the Jiffy basically?
We just can't have it.
Yeah.
Just can't have it. We can only have certain things on our program, and that's just what it is.
Ugh, yeah, yeah, I can, yeah. I mean, just even talking about that's making my mouth start to drool. I mean, chicken and eggs are one thing that we hear all the time, but yeah, peanut butter. Oof, yeah, I might actually go and have some after we're done talking now. Yeah, it is unbelievably good. Yeah, I agree 100%. But now, out of all of your followers that you have on Instagram, what is one thing that you think they'd be the most surprised to find out about you if they met you in person?
Oh, wow. This is deep, 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 deep. Now we're getting deep. I think, and I'm going to say it, I've never said this before. Like I said, I was a woman that raised four boys on her own. And one of the hardest things was raising four teenagers. Well, my youngest was a lot younger than them, but the first three were all 1 year apart. So when one was going through it, the other one was going through it. So I had two bad ones and two good ones. But I had a couple sons in prison at the same time, and I worked for Department of Justice at the same time. So I had to never tell anybody anything, and I didn't have a car. So I had to visit each one every weekend and without a car. So my youngest son remembers us taking buses and buses and renting cars. And I would always tell him, come on, come on, come on. He was only 4 years old. Come on, shake it off. Let's go, let's go. And to this day, that really, I mean, he's like really, I mean, he works in the entertainment industry and he does really well. And to this day, it's like, shake it off, let's go, let's go. I mean, he instills that. But I think that hard part with keeping the family together, of telling them, no matter what you've been through, it's okay. This is going to pass. And it did pass. That was like so many years ago. And they're like 41, 40, and 39 now. And they are wonderful husbands. They have wonderful kids. They all have houses. They all have their business. And just to see that in return, it makes my heart know all that hurt and pain and keep going was working. And so I know it works. So everything I've done in my life to keep going and keep going no matter what, keep going no matter what you have, just go with it. It works for me. And so it becomes easier now. And so now when I look at that, look back at that and never said anything to anyone. No one ever knew that. I never told anybody, couldn't tell anyone because of my job. And I kept it quiet. And so that to me now is like sometimes when I did marathons after 17 miles, it was like, no, you know what you've been through with the boys. We struggled, we won, we conquered, we were stronger than that. I always think about that. And now when I see their life, it inspires me now. And I'm like, I don't have to worry about any of that anymore. This is my time. This is my time now, and I'm shining. And so that feels great.
That is so awesome, and I appreciate that you were sharing that with us because, I mean, that's definitely one thing that I don't think many people would realize if they met you in person, and that's, I mean, just such a great story, and that really does prove. I mean, one of the things that I do preach on this podcast is that life is going to knock you down. I mean, it's going to happen to everyone, and just it's all about getting back up and just still, you know, coming back the next day for more. I mean, there's so many things that really I think people can learn from when life hands you a rough a rough hand of cards, and I mean, just to overcome that, and I mean, it just really proves that the hard work and preservation, I mean, is just they're basically two of the same things. But another question in the questionnaire: if someone were to walk up to you and say, "Nanci, we made the decision. You can change one thing about the sport of bodybuilding, and everyone would go along with it," what would be one thing that you would like to see changed?
I would have to say to stop. I would encourage more people to do it, to try it, definitely, and not think that you can't. And if you decide that you can't, it's not for you, that's okay. That's okay too. At least, you were inspired by it. You attempted to go out to do it. You see what it's all about. But if you don't want to do it for whatever reason, maybe you can do another time. But I always think somebody should because it's going to help you, you feel better about yourself, more confident about yourself. It's kind of like when you're afraid to do something, you don't want to do it. Everyone's going to, people always do that, especially girls. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. No, I'm scared. I don't. Well, how are you going to know if you don't do it unless you try? So I always say, if that's something that excites you, turn the light on and go do it. Jump out there. That's what this world is all about. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, you're going to get bored in life very easy. Wind up doing what everyone else is doing. And that's not fun. That's not exciting.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I've fallen into that trap a handful of times myself. But now, if you could go back in time and talk to the 18-year-old version of yourself, what would be the best piece of advice you would give her?
Oh my gosh. If I could go back in time, because at 18 years old, I had three boys and divorce already. Yes. But the good thing, God already knew my plan. I got my job with Department of Justice at 18 years old. So I graduated from high school at 17 and got my job at 18 years old. And I was already divorced and had three children. Now, is that crazy? That's insane. How did from 18 years old, and I stood with Department of Justice and went up the ranks and I went to law school. I did all that and retired at 35 years of service. So, and I did really well when I retired. So it's like, I mean, this was all planned for me, and that's why I give it back to people. And I just feel like I'm on earth just to, I mean, it sounds weird, right? But I just feel like I was born with a good heart, and then I'm supposed to touch people because I'm stronger. For some reason, I don't know why, I can lift really heavy weights and I can really tap into it. And some people, I just feel like, I just want to help them and just guide them and just help me. Hey, you can do it. Just encourage them.
That is, again, that's such a good, three kids by 18. How did you manage that first? I mean, I have friends. I'm 25 and I have friends that are starting to have kids now, and I'm like, how you even manage it then? But at 18, how did you do it?
My daughter in law asked me that too because she has two kids. And I said, and I didn't have a microwave. I had to warm up the formula inside of a pot pan. I remember having one in this arm, one in my belly, and one hanging on my ankle. And, when they all cried, it was just like, but they really were good boys when they were babies. And it was just warming up. And, at that time, um, my husband, with the boys, he was never around. He was out there drinking, hanging out with the guys. He was young and he was drinking and doing drugs. And so that's why he just didn't stay with us because he was going to prison. He was fooling around. He had more kids. Actually, I think he winded up having like eight kids. He had a lot of kids. And so I never had him to help me at all. So he was never there, but my parents helped me a lot. So I did live with my parents. And I remember sitting around and, at our house, everyone would come to our house. And I remember saying, one day I'm going to go to LA and watch. And they used to laugh at me and say, oh, girl, you're never going to go to LA, and laugh at me. And at 25 years old, I took my kids, got a U-Haul truck, transferred my job from Sacramento to the LA office. And I worked and I worked for the John Van de Kamp, who was then, the governor then, he ran for governor. And I'm like, I did all that. It was so fun. And I went to school out there to Cal State University, LA. But getting away from my family really helped me. Being independent, raising my children on my own, paying my own rent, having my own job, not having a car, having the bus to take, those struggles helped me. And, but I was never really a hardcore woman, even though, their father was, I wasn't that way, so I always try to keep myself like that. And that's why it's like, even though you're strong, you can still be beautiful. You can still be nice. You can still be happy. You can still be loving. And that's what my thing is, to give back to the world, is love.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can tell just from talking to you for this limited time that we've had, but yeah, I mean, it's just, and that is just such a great story, and it really does show, again, with the whole overall theme of just with perseverance and determination, you really can accomplish your dreams, and it's so great that you were able to do that. And I mean, I really just think that that's such an uplifting story. But if we were to talk to you a year from today, what are some goals that you would have liked to have achieved? What are some, things that you're working on right now? And if we were to talk a year from today, where would you like to be at?
Oh, yes, my coach have plans, and I'm still going to be doing bodybuilding. Right now, I'm postseason, and I'm focusing on my modeling. I'm doing a lot of shoots, and like I said, I'm doing the calendar shoot. I'm doing the magazine shoot. So a lot of things are picking up now for modeling, which is really good. But what I'm coming back next season, and I think next season is going to be the year for me. I'm going to be, I really trust this coach, and we're going to get me more cut up my whole body parts. And I'm looking forward to it. I've been working really hard. I'm a hard worker, and I'm going to give it everything I have and come back next year.
That is so awesome. And again, you guys, we cannot thank Nanci enough for coming on the show. I mean, I'll leave a link to her Instagram down below, and I highly recommend everyone go and check it out. I mean, you will get inspired to, get off the couch and stop eating those Twinkies and, get in the gym and start getting in better shape. But is there any last thing that you would like to tell people before we wrap things up?
I just want to say, everybody, I know it's hard to get to the gym. I know you're probably sitting on your couch right now watching a movie, drinking wine, eating, or at the restaurant. But whatever you're doing, I just want to wrap this up and say, hit the gym.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's an investment. It's just like a lot of other things in your life. It's an investment that it pays off in the long run. Like I always said, one of the big differences between being an alcoholic and being someone that needs to lose weight is that an alcoholic can go one day without drinking and they've already made significant progress. Whereas someone who needs to lose weight, if they go to the gym and they just run their butt off or they do a really intense workout for one day, you're not going to see any changes. You're going to look in the mirror and it's going to be the same exact thing. Where I mean, it's an investment that's long term that really you need to work on. But again, Nanci, we cannot thank you enough for coming on the podcast, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck when this comes. And this will be probably released by the time she turns 60. So everyone, we can wish Nanci a happy early birthday, happy early 60. I mean, like you said, you don't look a day over 30, and you're inspiring people who are 27 to get in shape and get in the gym. But again, you guys, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing out. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, Ryan.